Morning. Ooh,
Morning.
look rough.
Good morning.
Hi, I'm here. It was a long travel day yesterday.
Oh, that's right. You're back from
Atlanta,
spring
yeah.
spring break.
It
Yeah.
was a 12-hour day, which should have been
Well,
like, yeah.
yeah.
So I'm here. I did talk to
Good.
Ben. He got me caught up, so I feel very prepared. Just a little tired.
Oh, okay. So 8 o'clock, we're all here. I will call the meeting to order at 8. First item on the agenda is to actually review and approve the agenda. Do we, after public comment, we have timeline review. Do we want to do that first or do we want to push that back? It seems push it back. Yeah, it seemed to me that that was out of order.
Yeah,
Um,
maybe we just push that. We'll have that part of our, at the end, it'll be easier to kind of summarize and things.
yeah, why don't we move it to just between items 8 and 9, right before we schedule the next meeting at the end. So it'll be the last thing we do before scheduling the next meeting. As amended, any objection to the agenda? Hearing none, the agenda is approved. Public comment. I see we have some members of the public who would like to speak. Dave, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. So, my name is David Kidney. Lived in Montpelier for 40 plus years. Raised my family here. Now my grandkids are here. Uh, Based on the recent citizen survey regarding Country Club Road, I think it's clear that a vast majority of the respondents want the lion's share of the units in the development to be owner-occupied, single-family homes, duplexes, and triplexes. I think that was really clear from the survey. So if you're going to be asking the developers to address the concerns that you have and to strengthen their proposals, I think it needs to be made abundantly clear to Chinburg and Dew that at least 60% of the units, and I think that's a bare minimum, that at least 60% of the units should be owner occupied, single family homes, duplexes, triplexes. I think it also should be made clear to those developers, and I know Dew's already associated with Down Street, but I really think that both of those developers should be told that we want Down Street and Huntington Homes to be part of the mix, to be brought in as part of this project. These are two local entities with incredible reputations, both of them, for doing reliable, affordable, and high quality work. And I think it would be a shame. I know Huntington Homes is now associated with Executive Suite, but I'm sure if somebody else gets the contract, they'd be just as willing to work with them. We could keep the jobs in the community. We know they do great work. It would be just a huge asset to the project. I think it's clear that all three proposals that remain, that Executive Suites is the one. um, Background music. Uh, nice.
If you could wrap up quickly, Dave.
Yeah, I've just got another minute or two. It's clear that all three proposals, Executive Suites is the one closest to what Montpelier citizens want. But it's also clear that some on the council have reservations about that outfit's reliability, and recent allegations made by the city of Lebanon against that developer only would add to these concerns. So I think the council needs to ask Executive Suite about these allegations and determine whether its response alleviates your concerns. And I'll wrap up by saying that if your concerns aren't alleviated regarding executive suite, I really think O'Brien Brothers should be asked to resubmit a proposal. This outfit's initial proposal was very close to what a majority of Montpelier residents want to see built up at Country Club Road. And O'Brien, if they're asked to resubmit its proposal, they could be asked, to put in apartment buildings. I mean, their proposal was all owner occupied. You could ask them to do apartment buildings. They've done apartment buildings all over Chittenden County, managed them. They know how to do that. So I
Good.
think they should have been in the original mix instead of Penrose. And if we're going to kick Executive Suite out, we really should bring in O'Brien Brothers because they were pretty spot on right from the start about what Montpelier wants.
Thanks, Dave.
I wouldn't want to make one more point.
Quickly, please.
I mean, you've only got about 4 people on here. So this is really a once in a lifetime opportunity to build a lot of owner occupied housing for young families looking to start, for firefighters, police, tradespeople, artisans, state employees, healthcare workers. We could build a neighborhood, an incredible neighborhood up there, but only if the council insists that the developer it chooses build a workforce neighborhood. Build a neighborhood like O'Brien Brothers laid out or Executive Suite laid out. You really got to insist that Chinburg and Dew resubmit their proposals under those guidelines.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
Fran, go ahead. And please make it brief. We have 90 minutes and it
Okay.
it moves very quickly.
Okay, I'm Fran Dodd, also a longtime resident. I'll just say that I echo what Dave Kidney was talking about, all those points he made. I'm not as familiar with the whole O'Brien brothers, but I have no objection to that. It may be an excellent idea. Couple quick points. Home ownership will be better both for the tax base and for building equity for the homeowner. So I think that's a really important point. I think including single-story condos or houses is important to help move seniors out and be accessible for all sorts of people. I think they should focus on a wide income level, and including middle income, which recent housing studies said is needed. And one thing that I really like about the Executive Suite proposal, among many things I like, is the solar orientation to take advantage of the siting of the community. And it seems foolish not to make that a priority as well. I'll keep that brief. Thank you.
Thank you, Fran. Seamus.
Yeah, Steve Whitaker, hear me?
I haven't called on you yet, Steve. Seamus, go ahead.
Hi all. I'll keep it brief. Yeah, I just want to, start off by thanking the committee and council and community who are all engaging in this process. I'm really excited about the next stage. My feedback is more general than proposal specific. I think, these revised proposals have the opportunity to target features that the community liked most in the feedback. We've heard today already about home ownership. I think, regardless of if a developer mentioned that in their initial proposal substantially, it's a chance for them to incorporate these features, even if they didn't originally have them. And I think most importantly, these revised proposals are an opportunity to provide convincing detail on feasibility. Local expertise. Folks have mentioned Huntington Homes. I think it would be great if other proposals incorporated that, if possible. But at the very least, local experience and personnel. And I think crucially, realistic financial and timeline projections, because in my mind, the priority for the proposal is what's actually going to make it over the finish line, because we desperately need this new housing. And that's the most important thing, actually getting it built. And I'll just conclude by saying, I'm really excited about this much needed housing in Montpelier. As people have mentioned, places for working families to live, good for our downtown businesses, our tax base, our student population. I've got my 1-week-old son Ashin here, and I'm hoping that by the time he goes to kindergarten, it'll be alongside a bunch of new residents from Country Club Road. So, even though there are challenges ahead, I think we should all really try and persevere because it'll be worth it. So, thanks.
Thank you for that input. Deborah.
Hi, I'm Deborah Messing. Can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead.
I'm mostly here to listen, but I also want to reiterate my support for the design concept that was presented by ExecuSuite. Basically, whatever decision you come to, I hope that the design part can be implemented. That's all.
Thank you, Deborah. Steve, you still there?
I am.
Yeah, thanks for waiting. Go ahead.
So I think what you're hearing is that the missing master plan, because if ExecuSuite can't bring the credibility or the finance, then we need to stop this crazy process and do a master plan. But the kind of elephant in the room is the consultant driving this process has a conflict of interest. The quicker we get to a closure on a single developer, the quicker they secure their $300,000 contingent fee. Whitenberg's own actionable plan, the document that the city plan directs the city to implement, is to mandate a phase 2 public engagement process, develop the community's vision before the developer selection. On May 28th, 25, the council removed that requirement based on a memorandum from Mike Miller that did not accurately represent what was being eliminated. The planning commission was never told that that phase 2 planning process was being eliminated. After phase 2 was gone, we were operating in the void ever since. The consultant who said the community needed a vision is now being paid to substitute its own vision. That's what happens when you trust staff and consultants. At last Wednesday's council meeting, the same consultant told the council that partner selection is best left to staff and consultants rather than a larger public body. You've already seen where that leads. Every meeting the subcommittee holds with White and Burke is the clock on the clock is billable time, typically $500 an hour burning, and that compounds well beyond what appears on any single invoice. That money is being spent to convince this subcommittee that it does not need a master planning process whose cost that money would have covered. You're burning the budget for the solution on the people telling you the solution is unnecessary. The off-ramp is still available. A conflict-free, competitively procured master planning process could produce the community vision that phase 2 was supposed to deliver. Federal and state funding sources exist to pay for that work. What's missing is the decision to stop paying the wrong people and to start on the plan. Don't advance this process today. Recommend to the full council that the city commission a master plan, publicly adopted, legally defensible, and evaluate development partners against the vision it produces. You may have the best matchmaker in the real estate development space, but at a certain point, compatibility, the vision for the happily ever after, was set aside in favor of who is the most bankable. You're being asked to pick the richest suitor and sort out whether you want the same things from life after the prenup is signed. The matchmaker gets paid when the deal closes, not when you're happy, not when the vision is fulfilled, but when the papers are signed. That is the conflict. That's the process. That's what you're being asked to advance today. And I'm asking you to reset this process. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. With that, we will move to, is there anyone else? I don't see anyone. Yeah. We will move to item 5 on the agenda, selection of the next step in the process. Which of the 3 remaining teams will advance to the next stage? At the most recent council meeting, it was clear that the council's direction to us was to proceed in our best judgment to the next step. And so we're here today really to determine what that next step will be and who will participate in it. I greatly appreciate all these comments from the community. Clearly, this committee's mission is to choose a partner whose proposal is not only meets the goals of housing, but is actually achievable, and that's part of what is sort of missing in the package now. We have three proposals, none of which are fully complete, and we would like developers that we feel can provide an adjusted package based on community input, our financial analysis, and the overall goals that we've established. So that's our process. We will be discussing some confidential information. It will not be the entire part of the discussion, but I believe we need to have that discussion on which teams will advance. We need to do that with some confidentiality.
Sal, if I might.
Yeah.
Want to frame out that the 4 criteria for evaluating this are financial capacity, shared city vision, professional capacity, and team track record. And many of those include some of the confidential materials and findings that we have that were submitted confidentially by the developers, which is why we have to keep that in confidence. And then part of that is also we are building toward a negotiation process eventually. Once we've selected a partner, we'll enter into an LOI, and from the LOI, we'll build the development agreement. Sometimes those two things even overlap. And in that, we are negotiating terms about what we expect, what they expect, what we are looking for in terms of deliverables and milestones and off-ramps. So those are all the pieces that you negotiate as part of the agreement. And sometimes, since this is being done in the public record, a developer could gain some traction that would put the city at a disadvantage in its negotiating, which is why we recommend this being done confidentially whenever possible for those particular thin slices of the discussion.
Thank you, Stephanie. And I believe we've made that clear every time we have entered into executive session. We do it reluctantly, but we feel it's necessary to protect the current as well as future process. With that, I will entertain a motion. I believe we should invite city staff represented by Matt Jelasik and City Manager Curry into any session.
I move that we enter into executive session to discuss developer qualifications and proposals and the city strategy and key considerations for letter of intent and development agreement negotiations under the provisions of Title I, Section 313A2 of the Vermont statutes. And I ask that we include our consultant, Stephanie Clark, City Manager Curry, and Matt Jelasik from the Planning Department in those conversations.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Sal, I'm going to make an objection on the record here. Steve Whitaker. Section 313 authorizes executive session only when a public body is actually engaged in negotiating or securing a specific real estate transaction with an identified counterparty. The subcommittee has not selected a developer. There's no counterparty. There's no transaction. This will be, in fact, the admission, Stephanie's quotes and your own quotes just admitted that you're not within the exemption allowing an executive session, and this is on the record. So this will be an open meeting violation that you'll have to deal with, and the court will have to sort out. This will help to void this process. So I'm just putting that on the record explicitly.
Thank you, Steve. Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Do we have a link, Evelyn?
Evelyn emailed it to us.
Oh, she did. Okay, I haven't seen it yet. I will see you there.
Great.
We are.
Okay, we are back. Is there a motion to leave executive session?
I move that we leave executive session.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we have, in executive session, we haven't made a decision, on how to advance to the next step. We want to make sure we clearly communicate to the public in an effective way, our reasoning behind the decision, and so we're going to prepare a statement, listing, a description of what we're seeking from the firms who will advance the next step and what resources are being given them, as tools in that next step. We're going to meet on Thursday at noon. I'm sorry, at Wednesday at noon. Sorry, we're going to meet at Wednesday at noon, to release that statement, and in a very short meeting. Did I forget anything, team? Okay.
So, Sal, if I may, I
Yes.
did have a few other things to review with this subcommittee, which is the communications and timeline. Is that okay to continue?
Yeah, I think we're scheduled till 9:30, so we have everybody's committed till then, I think.
Great. Per last week's meeting with the council, we committed to providing up substantive updates throughout this process. So by the next full council meeting, I guess, which is not this Wednesday, which is a special meeting, but the following meeting, I think by then we'll have the memo and we could have next steps put together. Sal, is that something, I just wanted to touch base about process and if that's something you're leading to provide those updates with every meeting, if there are any, or if you,
Yeah, I think we can handle that part of it. Yeah. Yeah.
And then I wasn't sure if there was anything that folks had heard in the community, if there is a need for some information to go out to the community, maybe after Wednesday's meeting, we put out something that explains next steps or shares the memo out, puts the memo on the website, and then directs people to see the memo in like a front porch forum blast or something. So Evelyn, is that something you could take up?
Yes, absolutely.
I don't know if there was anything else anyone wanted to cover in terms of that, public education and general communication. And if the website, I'm sure the website's up to date, Evelyn, but just checking on if you need any other materials from me to do that.
Yes, no, that's great. Everything that we've worked on thus far is on the website, and I've also been including a weekly, just a very short weekly update in the manager's weekly report, just so that it includes links to any like the upcoming meetings and any past decision points from that week.
Evelyn, while we're talking about the website, there have been some folks who are wondering if the links to these subcommittee meetings are available on the website. Is that the case yet? I know you were working on that.
Yeah, are you talking about links to upcoming meetings or the recordings?
The recordings.
Okay, so the recordings, so we're going to have to, they're not currently all up there right now. We just have the developer interviews, but that is something that I can work on this week to make sure that we get the Zoom recordings up there.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. I think there's been some inquiries lately, so it'd be good to get that up there, even if you have to do a little bit at a time. But if we can get it up there sooner rather than later, that'd be a big help. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Great, thank you.
No problem.
And then timeline review, I can go through that with you now. But then also we want to talk about, we're meeting Wednesday for just a short meeting to approve the memo and and promote and advance that. And then we might want to schedule, just to give ourselves stuff on the like make sure we have it on our calendar cleared, another subcommittee meeting as an interim step. So let me go through the timeline first. That'll be helpful. And then you can decide when you might want to schedule other meetings. So making sure first people can see what I'm sharing. Okay. Is this something you can see legibly?
A little bigger, please.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's good. Yeah.
Okay. So this is, I've just been keeping this running this whole time,
Yeah.
you know, every week or every meeting, we review what we've done in the past, and some of these things have gotten changed. So I made some updates just to make sure you had an accurate record of what had happened. So this is our meeting today. And then we're asking we're gonna give anybody who advances 5 weeks to do a reiteration of their materials. That's based on kind of industry knowledge that it takes the time it takes to come up with the, you know, what we're asking for is going to take some time for them to really do a good job for us. So with that, then there's going to be a period for subcommittee review, follow-up questions, deliberations. I'm allowing 2 weeks for that. I think that's sufficient. I vetted this timeline, by the way, both with myself and the rest of my team at White and Burt, just to right size it and make sure I'm appropriately allowing windows that aren't too big or too small. And one of the things we're facing, we just have to be realistic, is we're coming into the summer and people's schedules get a lot more wonky. And so as we look at, you know, making sure we have enough time that public has gotten a chance to review, that the developers have enough chance to provide their information, and we have enough time to meet, is one of the considerations. So there's going to be a period for subcommittee review once we get the materials back from developers. Then there's the final vetting that includes, you know, really once we've selected a partner, then it's incumbent on the team to do another deep dive on their, you know, maybe a statement from their bank and, you know, that type of thing that really gives you the security. And then make a recommendation mid-July to the council on the selected partner, which then initiates the LOI and the development agreement timeline. And I admit that when I first put this together and I saw that we'd be hitting that mark in October, I kind of gulped, because we started this process in October of 25. But the reality is this was much more complicated. We got way more proposals than we expected, which we are grateful for. And we've had a lot of back and forth with developers, with really qualified teams and really substantive proposals that we need to go through with care. So it's taking that time. And could this be shortened? Possibly. I just didn't want to give anybody false hope, because over the course of negotiations, things can stall, especially in summer schedules. Any feedback on that from the subcommittee that would be helpful, or want me to double check anything? But as I said, I vetted this among our team to make sure it wasn't bloated or too ambitious.
And the decision on, I mean, the subcommittee's work ends when we make the recommendation to the council. So that'd be then up to the council at that point to decide how we go forward with the LOI and the DA. Good.
Yeah, I'm only currently contracted through this step, I believe. I'm not sure if it included the LOI or not. When we did our revision, I was out on leave. So, but you know, this is just how you get to the process you get to install. And that's right. And this is the recommendation to council, and this was the target date based on your current council schedule, hoping that still works. All right, if there's no other feedback on that, I would just say I think it's probably best to schedule. We currently now have a scheduled meeting in here on what we just said, April 29th.
29th, yeah, noon.
So that's for the memo and confirmation of advancement. And then during this period before June 2nd, you have an option. I would suggest you meet one more time just to, you know, touch base, make sure if you've heard anything, communications wise, maybe look out a few months or a few weeks and see if there's, if there's something I've heard from developers that that we should be talking about, but just put a placeholder. If we have to cancel it, if we need to cancel it and it's not needed, then great. But we could look at like May 13th or May 20th. Is that something people are interested in?
I think that makes sense.
I'll defer to you on the actual scheduling. I know this group likes Wednesdays and Thursdays.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. Anything. Yeah. Except May 14th. I can't do May 14th.
Yeah. May 21st,
Sounds great.
Sal?
Yeah, that works. May 21st.
8 a.m. May 21st, Adrian?
Yep, that works for me.
All right. Evelyn, could you warn both of those meetings for us?
Yes, I will.
Thank you. This one's the new. All right. Those were all the things I had on my list, so.
Yeah, great. Does anyone have any other business? All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
We are adjourned.
Thank you.
9:18.